8 years ago, I was drawn to the mysterious Amazon and made a documentary about a tribe defending their ancestral territory against oil companies. Enticed by the mystery of ancient knowledge, I'm returning 8 years later with my new family to meet some of the keepers of the knowledge, the medicine men, the tribal shamans. I'd heard about a sacred vine called ayahuasca, which enabled the shaman to have visions of the future and communicate with the spirit world and the natural kingdom. I knew that historically, altered states of consciousness have been an integral part of many cultures, and in tribal societies, these states have often been induced by taking hallucinogenic plants, with the shaman acting as the spiritual guide. I was curious as to why the United Nations had outlawed ayahuasca, and I wanted to experience the ayahuasca ritual and gain insights into the shaman's world. My journey would lead me head-on into the global war on drugs.
Every society chooses a small number of substances, no matter how toxic, and enshrines them in its cultural values, then demonizes all other substances, and then persecutes and launches witch hunts against those users.
I am thrust into life-threatening situations between worlds of opposing values. And I experience realities I never even dreamed of. Ecuador lies on the equator, on the western side of the Amazon basin. We touched down in the capital, Quito, which is nestled amongst volcanoes high in the Andes Mountains. This trip into the Amazon was set to be more challenging than my last. This time, I had Jasmine, my 1-year-old daughter, and my wife Willow, who was 6 months pregnant, travelling with me.
I've always believed that the Amazon is the wildest place on Earth, and I had to see it for myself.
Half of Ecuador's population is indigenous, and there are 12 distinct language groups, as well as some uncontacted tribes. With its diverse climates ranging from snow-capped mountains to lowland Amazon rainforest, Ecuador is one of the most biologically and culturally diverse countries on Earth. Ecuador has a long history of hallucinogenic plant use, with the San Pedro mescaline cactus in the mountains and the ayahuasca brew in the Amazon. We were warned that the road leading down to the Amazon was perilous, and a year before, a bus went off the edge, killing everyone on board. Eight years earlier, while filming the Guarani Indians cutting a demarcation line around their territory, I met Flavio. Flavio is a shaman and a warrior, fighting hard to preserve his land and way of life from the oil companies, the colonists, and the encroaching outside world.
Pero ahora están destruyendo mi vida, mi pueblo y a mi futura generación. Los árboles, las hojas, todo. Eso no quiero.
Flavio's father, Rafael, is a Shwa warrior and an ayahuasquero shaman. They've organised workshops on their community where the local shamans share their culture and knowledge with the youth. Rafael is determined to pass on his ancestors' culture, knowledge and land to his children. The shamans are the spiritual guides and the medicine men of the tribe who have vast knowledge of the jungle plants and their medicinal uses.
Ya, tengo muchos árboles, esos. Infecciones, charras, todo. Picaduras, todo. Este es de jugo curare, ¿no? Entonces siempre nuestros abuelos nos indicaban para para matar pava, satino, monos. Muy peligroso para animales.
¿Por qué es ayahuasca importante para usted?
Ayahuasca es de nuestros abuelos cuando ellos tomaban para tener visión espiritual de la selva, del río, también de la lluvia, de los cerros. Contiene de que este es bueno para salud de un chamanismo, control del chamanismo y tener más energía para el chamán y para controlar toda la selva. Entonces la boa es un chamán, o tigre es un chamán, espiritualmente. Todo animal contiene a este espíritu de ayahuasca. Vamos a llevar un poco para intercambiar el visión, porque este es otro ayahuasca y también este es otro. Este viaje espiritualmente suelo conecta con ayahuasca, con otra ayahuasca. Entonces por eso hace una visión más fuerte. Sin esto no tienes visión, no le ves bien, pero con este sí tienes visión, puedes mirar, o bueno, así, espiritual, selva, la medicina de montaña, ya, diferente. Este puede tomar también, no yacha, o sea, puede tomar también el que seguía tomando, ¿no? Este no es difícil tomar, solo yacha, sino también cualquiera puede tomar, ¿no? Se pone estas hojas primero para que esto vaya adentro. Entonces yaje, hojas de yaje, está ahí. Y este es ayahuasca.
Pablo Amaringo is also an ayahuasquero shaman who paints the visions he's had during ayahuasca rituals. This painting represents the 2 plants necessary in preparing the ayahuasca brew. Out of the ayahuasca vine comes a black snake with a yellow aura. There is another snake called the chacruna snake, which penetrates the ayahuasca snake, producing the visionary effects of these 2 magic plants. In this vision, a defeated king from a remote tribe in Peru rises from his grave to tell his shocked wife that he has grown a vine from his hair, which is to be called ayahuasca, meaning vine of the dead. He said you must mix this vine with the chacruna plant, which will allow you to see sound, to have visions, and develop your psychic abilities and acquire deep knowledge from past cultures. In scientific terms, the ayahuasca brew consists of 2 main active ingredients, beta-carboline from the ayahuasca vine and the extremely powerful dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, from the psychotria or chacruna plants.
Normally DMT is destroyed in the gut, but you take it in combo with beta-carboline and then it's active. This was discovered by Amazonian Indians millennia ago and not discovered by Western science till 1956.
During my research for this journey, I met author and ethnobotanist Dmt Mckenna. Terence was so inspired by his spiritual adventures with these Amazon shamans over the last 30 years, he wrote several books on his experiences and philosophies. He became a world-renowned speaker, advocate and expert on plant-based hallucinogens and shamanic rituals.
Shamanism is about going into the realms of death, transcending the body, transcending space and time. What the psychedelics do is they dissolve boundaries. They dissolve the illusion of separateness.
Raphael invited us to an overnight ayahuasca ritual at a sacred site in his ancestral territory, deep in the headwaters of the Amazon. Willow didn't want to drink ayahuasca because of her pregnancy, but she still wanted to come for the adventure.
The wildness, the sense of mystery and intrigue was enough to capture me. It was a journey into myself to discover my personal boundaries. I had no idea of the extent of the challenges that lay before me. I felt enormously protective.
Yo vine primero y vi pisada de tigre de la laguna. El tigre hemos medido este tamaño de aquí, pisada, acá. Cabeza, tigres. Tigre muy grande.
Tigre embarazada.
Tigre embarazada.
We just saw a jaguar prince, and apparently it swims in the river and eats children.
So we travel in the jungle with a baby.
Cae picaflor por esa atarraya de araña. Entonces cae aquí, enreda, sale y come para que enreda y pa, él come. Yeah.
We've just done a 3.5 hour walk through mud. And I'm 7 months pregnant. And I've still got 3.5 hours to walk.
I've been told to be very careful of snakes because there's apparently a lot of them around here. And they were going to build a plastic house, but we asked them to build a house out of palm build. And so it looks like we're going to have a traditional house.